Hi YouTube, Binks here with an updated Solfachord list for the TCG. If you've been watching some of the previous videos, they were in Master Duel. As we know, the ban list is a little different here. But in this video, I wanted to showcase two little Solfachord builds I have here, as well as some combos. The deck is not really meta relevant. If you're trying to play some type of meta or against meta, it's still a lot of fun. It's a great deck to play with, and there's many different ways you can build it. So for example, I'm going to show these two builds here. The first build I played at a couple of locals. The farthest I could probably reach with it was top 4, I think with a second place once. This is a diviner build, so that build I would say is pretty strong. The other build that I have to show is more of a pure pendulum build. That one has also got me top 4 once at the locals. But for the most part, it's just meant for fun. It can do a lot of cool things as well, and it catches a lot of people by surprise. It can really capitalize on the ignorance of not knowing what these cards do. So for the deck profile, let's get in at the beginning. So to start it off, there's 2 Cutia, 2 Cutia, 1 Angelia, 2 Gracia, 3 Fancia, 1 Elatia, 3 Dreamia, and 3 Cutia. So these are all the Solfachord cards. As you can see, Cutia searches all the Solfachord cards when normal or special. Dreamia extends itself by special summoning when there's one in the scale. And Fancia sends one from the deck to the extra deck. So you want to maximize on these 3, and I believe that these are the 3 to maximize on, so you can see these the most. As of the ones that aren't as powerful, but they're still pretty good, I would play 2 Gracia. Gracia searches the spell and trap. Cutia can banish a monster, a card on the field as a quick effect, and it has a battle protection as well, where it's similar to Shadal Construct, where it can send the monster to the grave. And Cutia also has a destruction effect similar to Thunder Dragon Titan, where the card can destroy a monster with an attack less than or equal to the scale times 300. So anything, I believe it is 2400. So there's that as well. Angelia kind of plays as a lone fire blossom. It can swap itself or another Solfachord for something within 2 pendulum scale, up or down. So for example, it can send itself and bring out Cutia or bring out Fancia. It could send Gracia to send out Cutia, or Elatia. Elatia is, it returns a spell and trap back to the hand. So it's utility, it's a name, but here it is. You can play all of them from scale 1 to 8 and from level 1 to 8. That's it for the Solfachord part. For the additional pendulum monsters, we have Astrograph Sorcerer, 1 Anti-Human Intelligence Messiah, and 1 Luster Pendulum. I'll show you why we play Luster Pendulum soon. Anti-Human Intelligence is a free special summon from the hand, and it can send 1 from hand to the extra deck. Similar to what Fancia does, and similar to what some other spells do that I'll be showing soon. It works as an extender. It sends things to the extra deck to add back with the field spell. And Astrograph plays as a level 7 to help out with rank 7 plays. And it's a new card from off the ban list. The card that really helped a lot, though, was the triple diviner with the Trias combo. So I'll be showcasing the combo soon, but this card is really what helps Solfachord keep momentum and keep up with its combos and stay consistent. It sends this to the grave. This in the grave or hand contribute fairy monsters up to 3 and get effects based off how many you special or how many you tribute. It can either destroy a card your opponent controls, draw 2 cards, or simply just tribute this, and this can bring out Cutia and get a search. So it adds consistency. And then lastly, for this build, we played 3 Ash Blossom. It's just a simple hand trap. I think you can probably play a more stronger hand trap, or you can probably play going second card like droplets. But these are 3 flex spots. Just for the sake of this video, it's kind of your 3 different cards you can choose, swap around, play pendulum cards, play Prod of Prosperity, whatever you want. So that's it for the monsters. Now for the spells, we have 3 Duelist Alliance, and you'll see why soon. 3 Elegance, 2 Harmonia. So Harmonia has a lot of different effects, and you can activate 1 of the 3 each per turn. So you can add 1 from your extra deck to your hand, similar to Electromite's part of its effect. You can increase the pendulum scale of a card in your zone by its level, so it'll always increase it to 9. All of these add up to 9, so you can increase it to 9 to pendulum summon your Cutia. And if you have at least 3 different odd or even scales, you can destroy a card on the field, non-targeting. For the most part, people should know what this card does, though. This places 1 from your deck to your pendulum zone. This one works as a kind of a pendulum call. You can send 1 Solfachord from your hand to your extra deck and place 2 in the scale. So you get your free scales right there. And also, you can have 1 odd and 1 even scale in the pendulum zones. Send them both to the extra deck and draw 2 cards, so it draws as well. So now Duelist Alliance, we'll get into this, but we also have the Terraforming to help search the field spell. Reasoning is an extender, because they're all different levels. And then, to go into this real quick, we'll go into the trap as well. 1 Musica, that destroys a card on the field, or if you have an odd or an even, you can special an odd or even from the extra deck to gain more card advantage. Duelist Alliance can search 3 cards in this deck. So you can search the Luster Pendulum. You can search Pendulum Treasure, which again sends 1 card from the deck to extra deck for consistency. Or the card that really makes this deck really good is Pendulum Switch. So we're going to talk about Pendulum Switch a little bit. Pendulum Switch, you can target a card in your Pendulum Zone, special summon it, or you can target a monster in your Monster Zone, place it in the Pendulum Zone. So a lot of the times your combos end with Cutia or Culia on the scale. So with Pendulum Switch, you can bring out Culia as much easier to get a pop, or you can bring out Cutia and get a search. You can search for whatever you need for the next turn. So Pendulum Switch it's a surprising card. It helps a lot for this deck, and it's just a very helpful card. So that's it. That's 40 cards. For the extra deck, we have 1 Gravity Controller, 1 Herald, 1 IP, 1 Underclock, 1 Geonator, 1 Land for Linkus, 2 Grand Solfachords, 1 Trisbana, 1 Borreload, 1 Avermax, and 1 Appaloosa. There's potential to go into all of these cards. Gravity Controller helps for battle phase outing. Herald helps for negation to keep the game state in your favor. IP and the Grand Solfachord you go into a lot, as well as either Mech Knight or Appaloosa to end your combos. And as well as Underclock, Geonator, the Trisbana, the Boral Sword, they're all kind of utility cards. In whether it's Master Duel or in TCG, I've gone into all of these cards at one point. I like to have the second Grand Solfachord. You don't need the second, but it helps to have the second in there since your extra deck's pretty flexible. In the rest of the extra deck, we have the 1 Odd Eyes Absolute that goes into the Vortex, and then the 1 Elder Entity to send off of Diviner if necessary. So that's it for the deck profile on the Solfachord. Let's get into the combos here. Okay, so let's start with some of the combos here. So this combo I have here is a 3-card combo. It requires Duelist Alliance, Elegance, and Diviner. These cards aren't really searchable, unfortunately, but in a Pendulum deck, you can play things as draw cards. For the most side, we have 3 of these, 3 of these, and 3 of these, so there's a good chance of opening it, not a high chance, but you can kind of work with other cards the more you play this deck in order to get what you need, but you definitely need Duelist Alliance and Diviner for this combo. So we'll start it off by normal summoning Diviner. Diviner effect will send Trias. Trias effect in Grave will tribute the Diviner to special summon itself. After it special summons itself, Diviner effect in the Grave specials the fairy monster level 2 or lower, and will special summon Cutia. Cutia searches for a Solfachord monster, search for Gracia. So next, we activate Elegance. Elegance will send a Solfachord monster to the extra deck to place 2 in the scale. So we'll send that Gracia, we'll place Cutia, and place Culia in the scale. So now you have full scales, level 1 through 8. Next, I've just used the Duelist Alliance right now to search and add Pendulum Switch. From there, we will Pendulum summon the Gracia. Gracia effect. Searches a spell or trap. So you have the choice to add Musica or Harmonia. I prefer to add Musica in this case, since Musica will be able to destroy a card your opponent controls, since you have an odd and an even scale in the Pendulum scales. So I would add these for now. Next, you will link these two for IP Masquerena. And then we will set our 2 traps and end our turn. So it doesn't look like a lot here. However, we have 2 cards in hand for next turn. They could be Pendulum cards, they could be hand traps. We have a Trias on the field, 2900, and an IP ready to link itself off on your opponent's turn. Musica can destroy a card your opponent controls as long as you have an odd or even. However, you may ask if it might conflict with Switch. If I were to activate Switch first and bring out Cutia, I can't use Musica. So in that case, I would bring out, I would bring out Cutia and use Musica to special either your Cutia or Gracia. And from there, Cutia can either add a Dreamia or Gracia can add the field spell. So there's a lot of flexibility within this. You can add these two. You can destroy a card then special if you'd like, or you can special and with your Musica as well, and then Pendulum switch with Cutia or Culia, whatever you need to do. But in this case, let's just say we special our Culia and we destroyed a card your opponent controls. So we destroyed a card your opponent controls, we special Culia. Culia has a chance to destroy a monster as well. And from here you can use IP's effect, special itself. You can special an Appaloosa for 3, as well as not being destroyed by card effects thanks to IP. So you now have Appaloosa, you have a Cutia scale, you have Pendulum switch, and you have a few cards in your extra deck for next turn. So next turn you draw a card, you'll have 3 cards in hand, most likely a Pendulum card, and hopefully a low scale, and then Pendulum summon 3 again if necessary. And that's pretty much the combo. So the combo doesn't really end on a lot, however, it's a lot of interruption, it's a lot of versatility, and there's a lot of different things you can do with the deck using that combo. So that's the end of the first combo. Okay, so in this next video, this one's an alternate build. This build removed Diviner as well as the Ash Blossoms. This is a more pure Pendulum build. This is what I was playing before Diviner was even released. And this is an option that is for people that can't afford Diviner. It makes this deck a lot more budget, but I still think this deck can do a lot of different combos as well. I think this kind of showcases the versatility of the Solfachord cards. So we'll just get into it with the build. The Solfachord engine does not change. So we have the 3 Culia, 3 Butia, 2 Angelia, 2, 1, 2, 3 Fancia, 1 Elatia, 3 Dreamia, and 3 Cutia. So just as the first build, this build does not change whatsoever in terms of Solfachord. I feel like this is the correct build. I think you can get away, again, you can get away with playing maybe 1 Butia and maybe 1 Gracia. You can maybe play more Angelias if you'd like. And here's where the build changes. So instead I decided to play 3 of the Anti-Human Intelligence Messiah. This card is, even though it's a secret rare, it's a pretty cheap card to get your hands on. This is kind of the extender that this deck uses instead, into going to your IP plays. And along with that is the 1 Luster still, just 1 Darkwurm, 1 Gate 0, and 1 Astrograph. So as you can see here now with the Gate 0, I have an additional level 7 to go into an Odd Eyes Vortex play. Darkwurm will search the Gate 0 and you can go into that easier. In this case, for this build I have 3 Dragon Shrine as well. You could, and it's probably better to play 2 Dragon Shrine, 1 Foolish, but I want to max out on my graveyard sending spells to send Darkwurm. I'd rather have Darkwurm in the grave than in hand. So Darkwurm is that free special summon, because if you are going to normal summon, it needs to be Cutia now or Fancia. And then from there, the build doesn't change again. It's the 3 Duelist Alliance, 3 Elegance, 2 Harmonia, 1 Treasure, 1 Reasoning, 1 Terra, 1 Musica, and 1 Pendulum switch. So the build doesn't change at all from there, other than the Dragon Shrines, the Darkwurm package, and playing more Anti-Human. So for the extra deck as well, doesn't change. Still Gravity Controller, Mirage Lights, IP, Underclock, Transverser, Landfurlinkus, Grand Solfachord, Trisbana, Boral Sword, Avermax, the Vortex and Odd Eyes package, and then instead I play the one Dweller. You can play another rank 4 if you want. You can play Baguska, you can play Tornado Dragon. There is, I don't have my hands on the cards, but you can play a Tornado Dragon package, maybe with Artifact Dagda. Maybe the Artifact package will work, especially in the side deck for this deck. You can shut down your opponent and then explode from there the following turn with your Pendulum Summon. So that's an option there. But I'll show a quick, really easy combo with this version of the deck to kind of get you that same result. Okay, so in this combo, I'm sure you all know what this is just based off looking at it. It's the Dragon Shrine Cutia combo. This will get you a Link 4 as well as a couple searches. This is a very simple combo. It's the first combo that was actually kind of thought of when this deck first arrived. You can get a similar combo with the Mythical Beast package as well. I didn't mention that in the video. But you can do it as well rather than the Darkwurm combo. But just to get it started, I'll show you here, activate Dragon Shrine. Dragon Shrine effect will send Darkwurm to grave. If you have no monsters on the field, you can special summon Darkwurm from the grave and effect to add gate 0. Next, your normal summon Cutia. Cutia's effect will search for a Solfachord monster, search for Drumea. And there you go, you have a scale 0 and a scale 7. 2 pendulum scales you already need with 3 other cards. So we're going to activate our scales, gate 0 and Drumea, but before we do anything else, we're going to link summon these 2 cards. They're 2 pendulum monsters. So that being said, you can make the Grand Solfachord Musea. This card only requires 2 pendulum monsters, not 2 Solfachord monsters, so which makes it really interesting. So now you can special summon between level 1 through 6. So we're going to Pendulum Summon. We'll Pendulum Summon Darkwurm and Cutia. Now this time, unlike the old combo, we have Grand Solfachord, and she can now search based off what you summoned by its scale. So because Cutia is a scale 8, we can now search for a level 8 Pendulum monster. Solfachord monster specifically. So now we have Cutia in hand. So now we have 4 cards in hand. From here, it's up to you. You can activate Cutia and tribute these 2, especially your Cutia. Or you can link these 2, which I would prefer, to go into your IP. And from there, I would prefer to end the turn. However, you don't have to. You can link these 2 off into your choice of Avermax, because they're 2 monsters from the extra deck, or Appaloosa. So you can make these 2 monsters. Appaloosa will have a low attack, but Avermax is pretty hard to get over once it has the non-targeting, non-destruction by your opponent's card effects from IP. So you have Avermax, and you have 4 cards in hand for your next turn. Eventually 5, when you draw into 1 for your next turn. And your 2 scales. So this combo is much safer than the Diviner combo that I showed. This combo can get you into an undestructible Avermax, which is really hard to out. But if the Avermax were to be outed, you have a clean open field. So in that case, that's why cards that I included, like the Pendulum Switch, along with the Duelist Alliance to search it, can really help you get its offense or defense going. I mean, even if you have to Pendulum Switch to bring out a gate 0 just to take an attack and you're out of the field, at least you'll still have cards your next turn to bring out. You have a Cutia for scale. It can go on and on with this deck. So that's why a lot of people like to say that this is a control-based deck, and it works in its control ways to have a multitude of just different effects, different cards, different actions. A lot of battle phase effects with the Butea. So from here, next I'm going to explain a couple of the Solfachord cards before the end of the video, just so you can see what they specifically do, each one of them. So before the end of this video, for those that want to play the deck, there's 3 crucial cards and crucial effects that really make this deck shine. And that's from Butea, Angelea, and Gracia. These 2 are very, very similar, and they happen during the battle phase. So to read it, While you have an odds pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, your Solfachord pendulum monster attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap effects until the end of the damage step. So the same effect works here, whereas if you have an even pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, your Solfachord pendulum monster attacks, your opponent cannot activate monster effects until the end of the damage step. So these prevent your opponent from acting any kind of effects, battle effects, to make sure your attacks go through. That being said, when you even pendulum summon them in the first place, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards or monster effect when your Solfachord pendulum monster is pendulum summoned, as stated in the pendulum effect. Whereas the lower ones, or the higher ones, such as Cutia, pendulum summons of your Solfachord pendulum monsters cannot be negated. So there's a lot of timing rules where these cards cannot be stopped into doing what they need to do. Such as big moments like the pendulum summon or when your Solfachord monster attacks. So lastly, in pairing with Butea is the actual attacker. So Butea reads, at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster with an equal or higher attack than the lowest pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, destroy that monster. So again, if it has a pendulum scale times 300, you just simply destroy the monster. And the monster goes away, and there's a chance they may not even be able to activate anything because of these two on the field as well. So definitely try to utilize Butea's battle effect with possibly one of these on the field. I think I showed in the Master Duel video, the opponent could not activate spell, trap, or monster effects until the end of the damage step while I was attacking, while these two are on the field, thus granting me the win. I think it was the Sky Striker video. They couldn't activate spell or trap effects, and I was able to attack for game after outing their field. So definitely try to utilize those effects. And the deck doesn't have too many combos to showcase, basically, because it has a lot of versatility. So definitely just test the deck, try it out. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely one of the most fun pendulum decks in a while. It can be frustrating at times because the deck is hard to play because every pendulum scale is different, every level is different. But once you start getting in the groove of playing this deck, it's very rewarding for what it does. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you try this deck. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Be sure to subscribe. I'll have more Solfachord videos. I'll have more pendulum videos as well. Hopefully Metal Foes, Magicians, and the new Valiants coming up. So yeah, thank you for watching.